In this video, I'm going to review multi-step equation word problems. The first part of the notes, we're just going to practice writing each of these as an algebraic equation. So it says Juan's salary plus 125 is equal to 600. So since it doesn't give us a value for Juan's salary, we can call this S, and then plus 125 is $600. And if we needed to, we could figure out what Juan's salary was. Number 2 says 6 times as many visitors is 120 visitors. So we would most of the time just read these literally. 6 times the number of visitors, we don't know how many visitors we are, so we'll call them V, is 120 visitors. So then we could figure out how many visitors, in this case, there would have been. Number 3 says 2 1/2 times the amount of interest is 2,500. So again, literally, it's saying 2 1/2, so 2.5 or 2 1/2 times the amount of interest. So we don't know how much interest. I'm going to call it X is, so it's equal to $2,500. So then we could figure out the amount of interest. And number 4 says the price decreased by 4 is 29. So we don't know the price. We'll call that P. It's going to be decreased by 4 is $29. So a lot of these times you can read them literally to figure out what operations and where to put the equal sign. So let's look at these two equations and how to set them up. Number 5 says, yesterday Josh sold some boxes of greeting cards. Today he sold 7 boxes. If he sold 25 boxes in all, how many did he sell yesterday? So we don't know how many boxes he sold yesterday because it just said yesterday he sold some boxes. So our variable is, let's say, is B. So number of boxes from yesterday, since that's what we're looking for. And the equation would be he sold some boxes yesterday, and today he sold 7. So with 7, and then in all he sold 25 boxes. So then to find, we would just subtract 7 to both sides to find that B is equal to 18. So 18 boxes yesterday. In the next example, it says a health club charges a $50 initial fee plus $2 for each visit. Mary has spent a total of $144 on the health club this year. Use an equation to find how many visits she has made. So we're missing how many visits. So we can use any variable. I'm just going to use V for number of visits. And the equation is pretty literal here. It says that there's an initial $50 fee plus $2 for each visit. And they have a total of $144 this year. So it would just be 50 plus they're paying $2 every visit to get a total of $144. So I'm going to let you go and solve that, either pausing the video now or going back at the end of the video. This next example uses something called consecutive integers, and it actually says consecutive even integers. What you need to know about consecutive is that's like one right after the other, so they're looking for numbers right in a row, counting numbers, integers, so whole numbers and negative whole numbers. So the question says, find 2 consecutive even integers such that the sum of the larger and twice the smaller is 62. So what you want to do with a problem that's dealing with consecutive integers is first name your first integer as x. So in this case, we'll call x the first integer. So we're dealing with 2 because it says find 2. So x is our first integer. And so it says consecutive even integers. So then we would want to name the next consecutive even integer. So if x is the first one, to get to the next even number, you would have to add 2. For example, if you're at the number 2, to get to the next even integer, you would have to do 3 and then 4. So you're 2 more away. So even integers, if you want the next one, you're going to have to add 2. So x plus 2 would be the next even integer. So when we set up our equation, we're going to use the x and the x plus 2 to help us show that the sum of the larger and twice the smaller is 62. So sum means we're going to be adding. We're going to be adding the larger, which was x plus 2, and twice the smaller. The smaller would have been x. So twice the smaller would be 2x is 62. So then I'll let you solve that for x. So you'll have to combine like terms and solve for x. Next one says an 84-meter length cable is cut so that one piece is 18 meters longer than the other. Find the length of each piece. So basically in this problem you have two pieces of cable and one of them is going to be 18 meters longer than the other. So I would just call x the smaller piece of cable, and the larger one is 18 meters longer. So the other one is going to be x plus 18. So find the length of each piece. So we know that we have the smaller piece plus the larger piece gives us an 84-meter length cable. So again, I'm going to let you solve that one by combining like terms. So pause the video or go back and solve it at the end. Number 9 says the first side of a triangle is 8 meters shorter than the second side. The third side is 4 times as long as the first side. The perimeter is 26 meters. Find the length of each side. I would draw a triangle if needed to see and just label it with what they gave you. The first side is 8 meters shorter than the second side, and the third is 4 times as long as the first. So because the first one is written in terms of the second one, I'm going to call the second one x. So we'll call x the second side. So to define the variables, x would be the second side.